What up, everyone? Welcome back to the Ben Oberg Show. So today with me, I've got a very special guest, Josh Forti. Josh Forti is an internet entrepreneur. He's going to be dropping his story. I know he's got an immense amount of value to share with you guys. We're going to freestyle our way through this. Josh, thank you so much for being on the Ben Oberg Show.
Hey, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. This will be fun.
Absolutely, man. So, hey, tell everybody what you do, where you're from. I know we were talking just a little bit before we got on the show this morning here. And obviously, actually, you know what? The last time I talked to you, I remember I was living in Washington. It was like 2 years ago. I remember the road I was on, the highway I was on, where I was going. And in that last 2 years, you've done some great things. You were dropping some pretty big names right before we hopped on this morning. So just give everybody a little bit of a background story on what you do, who you serve, what you're trying to do, because I know you are crushing it in the marketplace right now, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. So I build wildly profitable audiences for entrepreneurs, specifically entrepreneurs like that are impact driven, people with a message like that, like actually want to go out and change the world. I've grown and managed over 6 million followers on social media. We have done over $3 million in trackable cash collected for our clients. So like we actually know how to make money, not just get followers. It's pretty nice. So we do that. And then I also have my own show called Think Different Theory, which is a podcast dedicated to the mindset side of things, how to be successful in all areas of life. And we've interviewed some big names on there, like Russell Brunson's been on there. Steve Larson, Colin Wayne's been on there. We had Dude Perfect's manager on there. So like some really cool people on there. And we just focus on, basically my big thing is like, I want to create my own reality, right? And I want to be able to go out and I want to have not only the money and the life that I want to have, but also the impact that I want to have. Like I, believe that I can actually go and change the world. And I believe that everybody can in their own way. And that can only be done through like literally creating your own life, literally creating your own reality, thinking for yourself, taking personal responsibility for your life. And I believe that building an audience around your message is the single greatest way to do that, because you literally get paid to be yourself. And you literally get paid to stand up for what you believe in and can build a super successful business around that. And so that's essentially what I do is from a tactical standpoint, I teach people how to actually build those audiences. And then from an actual, hobby standpoint, I have a show that kind of fills the funnels from that. So
everything that you just said, I've never seen or heard from a professor, a teacher, or most parents, any of that. Like it's not taught. Where did you get that?
Yeah, dude, that's a super big problem. I dropped out of college after the first semester. I was like, yes, nope, screw this. I grew up on a farm, and like, I think the biggest thing for me is like, I saw a lot of rich people like growing up. Like I was paycheck to paycheck. My parents were, middle class, right? Paycheck to paycheck type money. And I was like, I don't know. It just seems like there's all these like pay your dues for 40 years, 40, 50, 60 years. But then there's like these anomalies out there, right? These people that are getting rich at 20 or at 30, right? People that are not going to college and building successful businesses. And I'm like, I think I want to do that. Like I feel different and weird anyway. School sucks. Like I'm not really all that great at grades. Like I'm kind of getting in trouble all the time anyway. And so I honestly, even though I hated reading, the kind of the thing that put me on the path was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Mm-hmm. And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad led me to .com Secrets by Russell Brunson, which led me to like just starting to actually like go and do and apply. And I think like the big thing for me was I grew up in a farm town. I was homeschooled away from everybody else. And so for me, I was like, I just want to go do. I just want, like, you know what I mean? And I just went and did. And since nobody really liked me I was just weird, right? Like all my friends were like homeschooled or like conservative and like just, very cookie cutter. So I was weird anyway. So when I got out into the real world, people made fun of me and I was like, I'm used to this, right? Like people made fun of me my whole life for being weird. So I went out there and then I started making money and then I started having success and I was like, yeah, I see the world differently. I know that there's a different way to go about doing this if I can just like learn that. And for me, like, I think school is beneficial for like some people. Like, I don't want to bash it entirely, but for the entrepreneur, for the free thinker, for the person out there that's like, screw this, I want to like go live my own life. Like college is like the polar opposite of that because it like trains you. It's like, here's how you think and what you do. And here's the trade tracks and here's the path. And it's like not proven. It doesn't work for most people. Most people end up in debt. They're like, most people I know that went to college are not happy. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm going to go do this other thing over here.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I always tell people like doctor, lawyer, engineer, you have to go to school. You're not
Yeah,
a brain
scientists. Yeah.
surgeon and doing that off of a YouTube video. But for
Right.
the people that like, they want to learn business, they want to learn marketing, they want to learn about money, you don't learn it from the professor that makes $107,000 per year. You learn business, you learn marketing and finance from the guy that's a multi-billionaire, from a Zuckerberg,
Right.
from a Musk, from a Gates, from a Bezos, from somebody that actually has it. And, you know, I don't believe in free. I know you don't believe in free either. Like, you have to work for what it is that you want. You're not owed anything. You're not entitled to anything. Okay, millennials that are listening to this right now that think that you should get some sort of money or some sort of loan for free and that everything just grows and you can pick money off trees. That's not true. But here's the thing. The average student graduates a four-year college with $38,000 in student loan debt. On average, that same population makes about $47,000 a year. And people have heard me on the show before say, you can't even be homeless in a corrupt state like California for that. You're going to take home 30 grand a year. You can't even afford to rent out the freaking concrete that your tent is pitched on in LA there. Like, so I see a lot of people, especially, how old are you, Josh?
26.
Okay. So I just turned 27. So we're like the same age here. We've got the same mentality about that. But I see so many people our age that just choose to be led. They've been led. They've been following their whole life. And so what do? Okay, well, I guess I'm supposed to go to school now. And then they get out with their marketing degree or their whatever degree, but they're flipping Big Macs at McDonald's.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, dude, is like, we have raised a society and a generation of people that don't know how to think. And since they don't know how to think, like, they listen to whatever they're fed. They have been spoon-fed, hey, when to wake up, what to study, what test to take, what to do their entire life. They graduate high school. And so naturally, what are they going to do? They're going to say, what do I do next? And then college comes along, and like, what people need to understand, like, keep in mind, I have no problem with colleges, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if a college wants to overcharge for a super crappy degree, like, that's fine. But like, let's be realistic and let's like be honest with the fact of what people are buying. A college degree is a product, right? Like, colleges are businesses, right? And so like, it's like, you can go out and spend your money stupidly if you want to, right? And like, just like I can create a course and charge whatever I want for it. And like, don't get me wrong, like, Harvard is ridiculously expensive, but I would say, like, if you're going to go to college, like, going to a Harvard is probably a good idea. Why? Because like, at least the connections there, at least the experience, at least like, you're actually getting your money's worth for things. Like, you might not get the benefit of it, but at least like, you understood, like, okay, I bought the product and it was high quality, right? But like, we've got to educate the people coming out of high school that like, hey, listen, like, right now you have a choice. If you choose to go this is a product, you will buy it. You cannot default on this loan. Like, you cannot apply for bankruptcy. Like, we just got to educate people. And like you said, like, people are just so used to not thinking, like, just being told what to do. And I'm like, think for yourself. Like, you have to go out there. I thought for myself and I made more money. I thought for myself, I was happier. I thought for myself, I punted the system. Did it go and get a lot of people to be like, how dare you didn't go to college? What? You mean to tell me that you're going to go make money on the internet and be able to try? Yeah, everybody thought that was crazy weird 4 years ago, right? And now look at it. Now everybody's doing it. And so it's like, when you give yourself permission to think for yourself and not be spoon-fed by everybody else, it actually gives you a so much better view on life, because now I can say, oh, actually I do. I want to be a lawyer. And I have a sister. She wants to go be a lawyer. She's like, man, I hate college, but I understand that that's a necessary step to get where I want to be. So therefore I'm going to go and take that route. And she's like, okay, I think for myself. And the biggest thing with people is that they just don't know how to think. And that's why my podcast, Think Different Theory, exists, is because like, I'm teaching people how to think, and then I'm giving them the practical tools to go out there and build a life that allows them to live however the heck they want.
I love it. And I completely agree. So here's a couple questions that I have for you. One's a short question, and then one's kind of a question behind it that probably brought you to this point. This year, what do you project in your business that you'll be able to make income-wise?
Over $1 million, probably. Yeah, probably like 1 point. I don't know, I have to look at the actual projections, but over $1 million for sure. Yeah.
I love it, man.
With almost no, we haven't spent a dime on ads yet this year, and we've done multi-six figures so far.
I love it, man. I'm super proud of you, man. And I can't wait to shake your hand here soon. So the next question is, most people, they get big eyes. They're like, oh my gosh, Josh's going to do 1.5 million or whatever, or some guy's going to do 6 million or 500,000, whatever. They get big eyes about this, and they're like, I can do that. But there's a whole sequence of actions behind that. And I tell people a lot of times, it's kind of like a plane taking off the runway. Okay. You don't study what's happening at ground level, and you don't study what happened at 35,000 feet, but what happened when it was, what were the actions? What were the things happening when it started to take off? What were the things that you were doing and participating in and committing your time to when your airplane started to take off the runway?
Yeah, that's such an important question. So I think the biggest thing is that you have to understand, like, people don't understand how the world works. They don't understand how people work and human psychology. Like, whole ideas and pockets of information will shape who you are, how you think, and how you view the world, right? And so for me, like, I grew up in a farm community on a farm working 12, 16-hour days, baling hay. And so like that mentality was $12 an hour, good money, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, great money, hustle, work for 40 years. Like that was the mentality. And like, I removed myself from that, and then I put myself into a different situation, and I allowed myself to just immerse in a different way of thinking, right? And so like I was watching my friend one time, and he was like, hey, if you think $1,000 is a lot of money, forever you're going to think $1,000 is a lot of money. If you think $20,000 is money, it's always going to be a lot of money. So if you just shift your perspective and you shift the people and the literal culture and energy and surroundings of you into a different state of mind, you look at things differently. I don't look at spending $100 at a hotel as an expense anymore. I look at it as an investment in the fact that I want to go to a good night's sleep versus a $20 hotel or a $40 hotel, right? I don't, there's so many different things. I pay $60,000 a year for a coach. My mom, my dad, all my friends, siblings, they're like, you're insane. Why the heck would you spend that much money on a coach? I'm like, because I just made myself 60,000 times better plus whatever work I put into it, right? And so it's like now I'm going like 2 years ago, we made like $350,000. Last year, my brother passed away in a helicopter crash, and I had to sell my business, get over and completely start over. And I went and traveled the world for 2 months to kind of like reset my brain. This year, we're going to do over $1 million, right? It's like, how? Well, because I constantly invested into myself. And it's like, the actual act of making money is very, 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 very simple. It is not difficult to make money. It is hard to make money when your perception of what makes money is negative or wrong. Shift your perspective, shift your reality, set your situation, and you can make a ton of money.
Boom. Guys, that needs to be turned into a rap song right there. Okay. I hope you guys are taking notes. Josh, that's phenomenal. So when we come back from break, I want to talk about the tips and the tricks behind building an audience, because there's people on here listening to the Ben Oberg show that maybe they're an employee, maybe they're in a sales position and they're at the car dealership or insurance or real estate. They need the audience. They need to be the best person in that brokerage firm. Maybe they're a general contractor. Maybe they're a sales manager. Maybe they're self-employed like us. People need to know them. And if people don't know them, they're not going to get business, especially with everything going on right now. So guys, you're going to hear from Josh Forti, the man, the myth, the legend, the owner of the Think Different Theory podcast. And we're going to talk about building lethally profitable audiences when we come back from this brief message.